Alright everyone, the July jobs report came out and it conforms basically to my expectations. We added 1.8 million jobs and unemployment ticking down to very close to 10. By the end of the next month it'll be below 10, which is really good. It's not, exactly perfect, but it's not far from where we started the Trump years anyway. Unemployment was hovering around, what, 7-8% anyway. It'll be below that probably by election day. That's really great news. It shows the strength of the Trump economy, which I'm sure as soon as it rebounds, if it does, it'll be the Obama economy again. We had the Trump mini recession, now it's the Obama years again, because Obama's programs are somehow magically the ones that are responsible for everything good in the world. It's the era of good feels, a la a president who hasn't been in office for 4 years. But at the same time, it is a marked slowdown from the prior 2 months of rebound. That's what I expected, in part because you have new lockdowns in certain states run by tyrants. California, Minnesota, some of these blue states of Michigan, certainly with fucking Whitmer, Virginia with Ralph Northam, who wants to keep everything locked down for the rest of eternity. These states are purposely trying to throw their own economies at the moment in order to keep unemployment as high as possible, human misery as high as possible, and GDP as low as possible. They want Biden to be able to make the case in the debates, especially, that Trump has ruined the economy. Of course, it's them ruining the economy. Has absolutely nothing to do with any policy that Trump imposed. The only one he imposed was travel restrictions. And then for a limited period of time, much of which I believe has been pissed away at this point. The federal government lacks the authority, especially just the executive through executive action, to really do anything meaningful other than free up discretionary funding and declare a disaster, permitting the states to issue responses. The 10th Amendment specifically bars the federal government from the kind of response that the Democrats are pretending that Biden would make and Trump can make at the moment. Well, he can't, and Biden wouldn't because he wouldn't be able to either. Executive orders can only go so far, and a court would shoot it down if he tried. Even if it's well-intentioned, even if Trump says, well, look, people are dying, so I'm issuing a nationwide temporary lockdown. The Democrats would call him a tyrant. They would say it was a prelude to suspending the election. They would probably move to impeach him. They would rabble-rouse about him being a wannabe dictator, and they would get a federal court involved that would shoot it down if he did. I guarantee that he would. He knew this and decided not to take the bait and do something unconstitutional that would give him a legitimate grievance against him. So instead he has to deal with the fact that there are half a dozen blue state governors at the moment purposely throttling half the U.S. economy, because remember, California is a large chunk of it in and of itself. Michigan and Virginia, pretty big states as far as the economic output. They're trying to destroy the United States economy. Despite this, unemployment again is now barely in the double-digit range and falling. It'll probably fall to 9, I would say, maybe next month, maybe 9.5 or something. That's markedly better than it was at peak recession, and we are in a recession. That's official. We're basically teetering on the edge of a depression. We have to wait till the next quarter's figures. We have to see how much damage is done by the incompetence and evil, I would argue, of the blue state governors, of those states keeping commerce from proceeding, keeping people from going back to work, keeping people from going out to do anything. In some cases, you can't even go to the park even if you are social distancing. These people are nuts. Really, the proper response is issue educational material, especially in schools and stuff. Tell people wash your hands, socially distance as appropriate in certain cases. If you must go out and you're symptomatic, wear a mask. Otherwise, you probably just shouldn't go out at all. And that should be the response. That's how you actually tackle the problem of a pandemic. Of course, you could do this every year for the flu. It's like, I guess people are going to have to deal with those restrictions for the rest of time, and everything will be different. Everything has changed now because someone got the sniffles. It's basically what it boils down to. They're trying to upend all that is good and noble about U.S. society in favor of totalitarianism, moving us closer to a Chinese model. Masks and all, by the way. But this is basically what I expected and predicted, which is you got to anticipate a bit of a slowdown, but it is still surging ahead as far as the number of jobs, because it's inevitable that most of the jobs will come back online over time. It's just a matter of which ones come back online first and how many per business, because if you got a business at 50% capacity, they're not going to keep employing the same number of workers. It's not economically feasible. A lot of businesses operate on a low profit basis overall. And so they can't afford to have the same number of workers if they're only able to sell half as many products. It's just not feasible. Even some of these businesses stay closed because it's not even profitable to keep the lights on, so to speak. Even running the electricity to have the business open, running the water, running the electricity, buying the product takes a cost. If I'm told, well, you're only allowed to have half as many people per day coming in your store, I'll just stay closed. I'll stay closed, I'll draw unemployment, hope that the Democrats up the unemployment, maybe I'll just fucking sell my business for pennies on the dollar and say fuck it, and move to a country where pastures are greener and capitalism is still operating. That being said, Trump's doing a pretty damn good job. If he can manage to grapple with basically treason on the state level from, again, half a dozen different states, including several of the largest economies in the particular nation, and still manage to restore more or less some semblance of order and growth to the economy, I would say that's pretty damn good, especially when the pandemic is still ongoing. There's still a lot of paranoid Karens out there who want everything to be locked down forever. But he's still winning. I think that's great. Can you imagine if Biden were the president right now, what the jobs market would look like? We'd probably still be losing him. We'd be going into an FDR-style death spiral, and Biden would be passing layer after layer of shovel-ready New Deal bullshit in order to create and prolong a Great Depression to allow the government more power. That's about all. Peace out.